So first I started off by tracing the mirror onto one of these sponges, as you can see. And by the way, I got these sponges from Home Bargains, but if you can't find sponges like these, you can just trace 2 circles onto just a regular sponge or some foam and then cut them out. And you also make sure that the mirror fits as well. And next what you want to do is you want to cut out the middle circle. So I'm just going to do. So here is what it looks like after I finished cutting out the middle part of the sponge. And we're going to be gluing the mirror in here later. And it doesn't have to look perfect, by the way. And next what I did was I started rounding off the sponge, as you can see. So you just want to make it as smooth as possible. So you just want to take your scissors and you just want to make curved cuts all the way around it, like so. And then you just want to make smaller cuts just on the top. So that way it looks kind of like a bun shape. And I've already done that to the other side, as you can see. So I just made it as round as possible and just smoothed it off with my scissors. So you just want to keep just trimming it and shaping it into a bun shape. So I'm just going to finish. So here is what it looks like once I finish smoothing off the shape. And I ended up making the bottom a little bit flatter, just so that it would be able to stand up a little bit better, if that makes sense. And next what I did was I glued a strip of felt onto one side of the squishy, as you can see. So that way the 2 pieces will stay together. And it doesn't matter what colour the felt is, because we're going to be painting it later. So now we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I cut out 2 holly leaves from some dark green felt, as you can see. and I just used an image as reference, and I just drew these shapes onto the felt and then cut them out with my scissors. And I know they're not completely perfect, but I'm still really happy with them. And we're going to be gluing these on top of the Christmas pudding later. So now we can finally start painting it. So next what I did was I painted the Christmas pudding brown. And I also mixed in a little bit of burnt sienna paint just to make the brown a little bit lighter. And I also painted the inside as well, but I can't really show you because it is still drying. And then I used my black puffy paint to paint on some dots all over the pudding. And I'm just using these images here for help. So now we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I used my white puffy paint to paint on the brandy sauce on top of the pudding. And then I just used a paintbrush to make it look like it's dripping all the way down the sides of the pudding. And then I used my red puffy paint to paint on 3 berries on top of the pudding. But you can also make them out of foam, or you can also use red pom-poms. So I'm just going to let this dry and then we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I glued on the 2 holly leaves on top of the pudding. And I just used this glue here, it's just an all-purpose glue. And you can choose to glue on some more leaves if you want to, you don't have to do just 2. So now we can move on to the final step. So lastly what I did was I glued the mirror inside of the pudding, as you can see. And then once you've done that, your squishy is finished. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I'm trying to squish it carefully because it is still a little bit wet on top. And I think this came out really good. And I think it looks pretty realistic in my opinion. And I know it's not very squishy, but that's okay. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, please feel free to request some more squishy tutorials or video ideas you'd like me to do in the comments below. And also, Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you're all having a great day. And yep, so thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.